everybody, I just thought I'd give you a quick demo on how I made my coffee background in my latest card today over on my blog for Scrappy Boy Stamps. I used real coffee to create my coffee stains background, so I'm just going to create those or recreate those quickly for you. I've got a couple of pieces of cardstock. I've got just a cheap watercolour cardstock from Amazon. It's got a slight bumpy texture to it that will hold the coffee. This is the one that I used in my card, but I also wanted to test out some Heffy Doodle bright white cardstock. This is my favourite cardstock for ink blending, creating card bases. So I just wanted to see how it'd hold up with the real coffee and whether it'd have the same effect. So I thought we'd experiment with that during the video today as well. So for this, I have a small cup of coffee. This is just 2 scoops of coffee with a very, very small amount of water mixed up and left to go cold. And then I also have just an empty mug. Now this is quite a small circle. However, you could use a larger mug if you wanted a larger space. This is just what I have to hand. So I'm going to take the empty mug and a paintbrush. Let's just move that to the side, and I'm going to dip into my coffee as if it's like a watercolour, and then we're going to just sort of draw around the edge of the cup, and it's going to create a stained effect. Now you'll see that it drops into the cup. That is fine because that will help to create extra texture once we put it onto our card today. So as you can see, I'm just using it as a watercolour. Now in my first card that you'll see on my blog, I actually only used 1 scoop of coffee and a little bit of water. However, I wanted to see if this would come out a little darker by using 2 scoops. So just keep going round. Obviously what I want is I do want a little bit to come into the cup so that when we flip it over it drips down for us. Okay, so let's just go 1 more round on this, and you can see it sort of sits on the lip just like it would if you were drinking a cup of coffee. Okay, and then we are literally, I've got it all over my fingers. Let me move this a little bit further forward for you. I am literally going to flip this upside down and hold it. Now, if you want, you can circle on the same spot a little bit, just to get it in, and then we can lift. Now, as you can see, it's come out differently to how I did the one in my card, but I also like this. You can see that we've got a few splatters, which is absolutely perfect. Now you can see that you can move the coffee around the ring that you've created, and you can maybe just slightly move it and it would maybe create some drips. You can see here, if I hold it long enough, it might create a drip down for me, like that. And if you wanted a second stain, okay, and then we can create a second stain. I've still got a little bit in my mug, as you can see. I'm just going to take a bit more coffee. I'm not worried about this being underneath me so much, as I don't mind having coffee splatters, as it will just add to the authenticity of the background. So I'm just going to quickly do this, as you can see, and then we're going to do it upside down again. Just hold it there for a moment. Maybe turn it a little bit if you want to, and lift. Now you can see I've got a bigger splotch there now, so I'm just going to get that back into the circle and run it round. And you've got your coffee stained background. And that is the watercolour cardstock. Now if you wanted to at this point, you could take a little bit and just maybe splatter some extra coffee over it just to give it extra texture. Let's pop that to the side and just wipe off my coffee here again now. And I am going to take the piece of Heffy Doodle bright white cardstock. Now this isn't going to fit a card, but I am just experimenting, so that's fine. So I'm just going to take my coffee cup. Can you see that it's created a ring? So if you wanted to, you could even get another piece of card and stamp that way too. That's up to you. So we're just going to do the same again. We're going to take the paintbrush or watercolor brush, whatever you've got to hand. Doesn't matter how thick, how thin the watercolor brush is. You can just reuse whatever you want. All you want to do is create an effect around with your coffee stain here. Obviously, the more you do it, the more it will hold and get coffee stained fingers. So let's just pull this over here, and we're going to flip upside down. That went down with a slam, so I'm very sorry about that. Okay, I'm just going to give it a little twist, and then we've got a coffee ring. Now this one, because it's smoother cardstock, will probably move slightly more easier. As you can see, when you move it round, you will get drips. But experiment with it. You know, it does. Coffee stains, when you see them on your coffee table, are probably all over the place. So experiment with moving it around, just like you probably would with Distress inks. But I like how that's came out. Let's just try and get that to drip off a little bit more. There we go. And this will probably dry okay too. So the bright white cardstock, I'm pleased to say, works with real coffee as well. So this is the Heffy Doodle bright white cardstock that we're using here. And then if I just bring back in this one, you can see the watercolor cardstock, which had the texture to it. And I actually like, and you can see it's still wet. Make sure you leave it to the side to dry. I left mine to dry naturally rather than air drying it, to make sure that I didn't ruin the coffee stains that I had created. And then once it's dry, you can do whatever you want to do with it. And I really hope that you will give it a go using real coffee on your card backgrounds. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.